So, in 2015, when Trump came down those stupid escalators, in my opinion, he should have fell, toppled, and cracked his cranium. When he came down those stupid ivory towers that he considers the Trump heavens. Pentagon, like a pagan, he's better than Washington paganism in Washington with his mega movement. When he came down those stupid escalators of fool's gold. Golden escalators with his golden sneakers, the Trump Air Force sneakers, with all his trinkets as a grifter. You know, NFT cars, Trump steak, 14 years of Blu-ray on The Apprentice. You can buy it on Walmart. They sell it for $2 on the liquidation carts. You know? You could buy Emalia a book on her eyes with photographs just of Emalia's eyes. You could go to Mar-a-Lago and bet on Trump portrait for charity for him to hang it right back on his wall. You could go to a Trump university where the Ivy League real estate professors are hired right from McDonald's, picking french fries with their bare hands. Never been to college, never been professors of real estate. A grift. You can pump and dump his world liberties and pin it to Doge and the Treasury Department to Bitcoins and launder fossil fuels and merge as activist with car icon Rex Tillerson, Elon Musk, and the Trump bandwagon as grifters in the stock exchange. I heard Zuckerberg is on the next way up, cutting down on inclusions of minority employees. But you see all these grifters, what they don't understand is that through the shadows, everything makes sense in hindsight. That's intelligence. Grifters don't have the slightest clue how to keep up with it, let alone their trinkets. So, in 2015, Trump had a Moscow tower because he had Russian mobsters working with him. Trump has always been in real estate, dating back to Roy Cohn, his lawyer. He paid the 5 commissioned Italian mob to build his Commandant building, you know, for them to sneak undocumented Polish immigrants, illegal migrants, into the Commandant building to gut it out. Because it was cheaper to pay them than to pay the union, so he grifted the pockets of Fat Tony Salerno, Galante, Tony Duck Scalardo, Paul Castellano. So Trump has always been in the mob's pockets if it's cheaper to build buildings that way. So in 2015, when he came down those stupid golden escalators that he should have tripped down with his golden sneakers as a grift, he had a Russian mob deal for a building in Moscow called the Trump Tower. When he lied to his supporters, I have no pending deals in Russia, I never did. That's when Robert Mueller and the FBI, Comey, realized that right underneath his floor was a Russian mob racket. So there was 2 people underneath Trump Tower, the floor. They had an office. They personally were friends with Trump, wheeling and dealing in real estate. The Russian mob used to buy Trump condominiums to park their money, to launder it. They call it a safe haven because it holds its value while you park it. And then when you liquidate it, it looks like a transaction, real estate transaction. That's how organized criminals launder through real estate. So Trump was in the mob pockets, the Russian mob, when he came down those stupid escalators with trinkets as a grift. By the way, he paid those actors to start this movement and to wave signs and say Trump, Trump, Trump. Like he paid black actors to be in the back of his rallies in front of the camera, wearing black for Trump shirts. They were actors that were paid to follow him at every rallies. Because he was alienating so many black people by insisting that his white supporters punch them and they be taken out in stretchers like the good old days. So he needed to make up for it. After General Lee was a great general, Charlottesville Nazis defending the Confederacies, So he decided to hire a black actor to wear black shirts for Trump. You know, the one that wears sunglasses with the ponytail, look like he has a perm. That was at every valley, right in back of the bully pulpit, looking like a star. You know how Trump points back there and says, "Y'all stars, I'm gonna make stars out of y'all." You know? He's always been a grift. Now he wants his world liberty to be pegged to Doge, while Elon tries to convince the Republicans to bet on Bitcoin through the Treasury reserves. For Trump and Elon colossal computers can use it to peg the dark web and blur the blockchain transactions, for they can be degenerate activisms like car icons. For they can hostily merge and take over corporations globally. But don't you understand the intelligence of all nations and how we see people clearly for what they are? So, in 2020, he was afraid that he was going to get charged and lost all his liquidity of real estate. He was afraid that he was going to go to prison for the rest of his life for covering up and vetting out the Robert Mueller report to hide the Russian mob deal and the Trump Tower Moscow deal. That he vetted out Robert Mueller and he fired Chris Comey for it. So, when he appointed Bill Barr, after I reached out to Attorney General Sessions to recuse himself, he fired Sessions. He fired Reince Priebus, because I reached out to him too, his chief of staff. And he reached out to Nunes and Kash Patel to put money in their pockets for they can leak out intel while he's president, in order for him to read out the Robert Mueller report with Bill Barr. And when he was afraid that everything was catching up to him when he lost the election, he tried to send Giuliani with Sidney Powell to overturn the swing states. And he almost got his vice president hanged. And he almost got Kamala Harris blown up with 2 pipe bombs. So, when the coup d'etat didn't work out, he knows now he added another charge on top of his real estate fraud and the obstruction of the Mueller report. Now he committed treason to cover up his audited deal, real estate deals. Real estate deals. Can you imagine? This is not an official act, Judge Roberts. It's not considered an official act. When Trump took $10 million off the Egyptian president and laundered it to save his own ass pack, or Save America pack, and used it to reimburse himself with it, he laundered $10 million into his pockets. No different than Senator Menendez, Judge Roberts. These are not official acts. So, when he, with Bill Barr and Whitaker, Rosenstein, Rosenstein wanted to hold Trump accountable, but then they blackmailed him to step aside and appoint Whitaker. Whitaker was right there when Trump was grandstanding about the Stormy Daniels case. He's still bitching about it in front of the courtrooms. Now, let me tell you about that, too. Michael Cohen, Trump uses Save His Ass Pack money, Save His Own Ass Pack money, or is it Save America Pack? I get confused sometimes, but you get where I'm headed. So, Michael Cohen, he uses Save His Own Ass Pack money, and he paid Michael Cohen to give Stormy Daniels hush-hush money to stay quiet while his friend bought the story in a non-disclosure agreement and paid Stormy Daniels. And then he reimbursed himself like it was a self-funding campaign to his Save America PAC so he can pocket the money again. But then under Bill Barr, he took Stormy Daniels to court for breaking her non-disclosure contract and made her, Bill Barr, want to pay Trump. Now he got paid twice off of Stormy Daniels. But now he's grandstanding in front of the judge, in front of the court, with Whitaker and his son, Trump Jr. He's grandstanding when the judge gave him a pat on the wrist and said, no penalties, but you're guilty. So you want to be like Roy Cohen. How dare you? Lie it, and fake it until you make it. Like a degenerate mobster lawyer. Greater than Alphonse Capone, this Teflon president. When will the Velcro stick Supreme Court Roberts? Because he's beginning to look like the John Gotti of New York as chief and commander. But it gets even more bizarre and bizarre land with Trumpery. So, during 2024 elections, he reached out to Stormy Daniels again. He said, look, if you keep your mouth shut, that money that Bill Barr told you that you have to pay me, I'll make you pay a small portion discount. You can still have to pay me back, but I'll discount you a small portion if you keep your mouth shut. But now he's grandstanding in front of the courtroom, arguing against the judge, saying I was not guilty. But a grift, as a Pied Piper, his dim-witted supporters follow him, looking like QAnon every which step of the way. Deplorables, uneducated. I don't blame them for being Neanderthal followers at this time, because they're willing to follow a grift every which way the Pied Piper goes. Trumpery. So, let me paint a clear picture for Justice Roberts. While Trump was afraid now that he would get charged, not only for reading out the Mueller report to cover up his real estate corruption, he overthrew the government because of it. But when it didn't work out, when Giuliani came back sweating petroleums out of his eyebrows, trying to cross his T, capital T, for Trump and dot his I's as a lawyer, when it didn't work out in the swing states, Trump decided to get 2 Ryder trucks, rental trucks. And he vetted out Homeland Security, FBI, NSA, Pentagon. He vetted out all the archives and put them into rental trucks, Ryder trucks. So his lawyers can argue in court about his real estate charges in New York. Why he told Judge Cannon that never read a paper. Maybe she should have took a Canon printer and printed out at least 1 page of the intel, because she was blocking everything without knowing, like an idiot judge. A Neanderthal, dim-witted judge. She should have invested in a Canon printer. I would have gave her money for the ink cartridges, Judge Cannon. I know you didn't read not even 1 page of classification to argue Trump. But it gets even more bizarre. So now Trump is currently arguing why he got scot off without no penalties for Stormy Daniels. Now he want to argue like Roy Cohen. No, I want my name adhered to. You know what he said about Eugene Carroll? Eugene Carroll was his friend during Jeff Epstein years, parties in Trump Tower. Eugene Carroll had a African celebritant boyfriend, and they used to go to Trump Towers and party. But at that time, Trump was flirting with Marla Maples, divorcing his first wife, Ivanka. They all sound the same. But you get what I'm saying. He was disdained against his first wife because she knew how to run a casino when he didn't. And he didn't want her to share the same limelight of the art of the deals. So he threw her underneath the bus and a divorce. That made him feel like he went bankrupt, but it was his own negligence that made the Taj Mahal shuddered. The great 7 wonders of bullshit worlds. In his world, he thought the world revolved around the Taj Mahal. He buried his first wife out of spite and bent Mr. to call it a cemetery. Now I can keep all the money over habeas corpus. I wonder if he will bury his children in Mar-a-Lago to get Mar-a-Lago considered tax exempt. He would do anything for the love of money. Trust me, at this point. So, Judge Cannon, since you're ignorant to the fact of a judge of a what? What you see in those papers. I'll buy you all the Canon printers and give you all the ink cartridges for you can sit down and read 2 truckloads of Ryder trucks for you can clarify your judgments in the public arena. So, these are not official acts, Supreme Justice Roberts. Overthrowing the government because you are afraid of a Trump mobster, Russian mob deal of the Trump Tower when he had no deals in those dumb escalators that he calls fool's golds, the golden escalators. Like his sneakers, he thinks his Nike Air Force Ones. A fool's gold, just like his diamond cufflinks that he gave Charlie Sheen for his wedding present, that he gave Roy Cohn when he was dying of AIDS. But this is the con grift of trinkets that he leaves a trail. Like damsel in the forest. Here's the breadcrumbs. That's damsel. But reality, his apple is the venomous snake of Adam and Eve. For the love of money, the roots of all evil goes back to that love. Now let me get with this explicit language. So, during 2024, what did Trump do with his time? He laid in bed with Elon Colossus Computers. Not only to prop up his World Liberty Company, he chartered that 2 weeks before the election, or around a month before the election, he made it official. His World Liberty. He laid down in bed with Elon a year in advance, like a year and a half in advance, to flood Colossus bots through smartphones in order for Trump to win overwhelmingly with a mandate by streaming pro-Trump videos on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and all of the smart streaming televisions and smartphones, thanks to Elon. Because Elon wants to doge his pockets when he steps down from saving $2 trillion up front, but through the back doors of the Treasury Department, he pockets it. $2.5 trillion. That's what he has in mind with his Colossus. When they act like activists are car iconish, trying to merge hostily as pirating other corporations. That's what's doging his pockets, Elon's. And Trump wants his dark web, or may I say dark mega, to launder world liberty into the dark change of the dark web to blur the blockchain into the Treasury Department to Bitcoin. Because one Bitcoin was worth currently $103,000 for one Bitcoin. So he wants to peg world liberty to it, for they can doge their pockets like they're fat robber barons. But it gets more complex than that, and I will proceed on with the intel and my arguments. So now, Trump stole a second term in office, Supreme Court justices. And this is not an official act, if you ask me, hypocrites, judges. Tipping the scale, Judge Supreme Court Roberts, is not an official act. You can get impeached off the bench. The same for Alito, Judge Gorsuch. All of y'all, right-wingers, tipping the scales unfairly, y'all will get impeached. As grifters, too. Just like Cannon. I will strip those gowns naked off of y'all when y'all become hypocrites and y'all swear yourselves in for life with y'all self-serving opinions of asinine arguments of immunity, or what you considered total immunity. So, now we're in 2.0 Trump 2025 project. Now, with Exxon, he wants to annex Canada and Greenland not to pay transmission fees of pipelines by Exxon Rex Tillerson. So they want to save money with the other deals. So that's what Trump had in mind with Brexit. With Farage, was to backstab Britain, divide it in two, and then conquer it. For the love of Rex Tillerson and the board members of Exxon. Now they don't have to pay transmission fees to Canada if it's part of the Union, and Greenland, and they can divide and conquer Europe for the love of oil, doging their pockets every which way. Fat pockets at that point, huh? But Judge Cannon, if you're running out of ink, I will buy you as many Canon printers, Judge Cannon. I'll go to Staples and order thousands of Canon printers and truckloads of ink cartridges. So you can keep yourself informed. But you care not to even read one Intel page, so you're an ignorant bitch to begin with. So let me proceed on, Judge Roberts, because you see where I'm going with this argument. Do you see where I'm going with this argument? I would impeach you all from the right-wing bench if y'all tip the scales unfairly as hypocrites when y'all swear yourselves in to that Supreme Court.